Good morning, everyone. I am Mike Petro. I am with the Committee for Economic Development. This has been a true learning experience for me. I've had an opportunity in the last few days to travel your wonderful state and eat the local cuisine and meet all the wonderful people. And I've joked with my colleagues here that when I go back to where I live in Alexandria, Virginia, I'm going to miss the have a nice day, honey, and doll, and baby, and all that other stuff. And I tell you, it's infectious. In fact, the last time I was in Jackson, I went back home and I went into my local Starbucks, and the woman was like, "What do you want?" You know, and I was like, "Oh, aren't I your honey?" You know, and it was just, it really is infectious. And I do represent a national business group. It's the Committee for Economic Development. It's been around since the 1940s. It's really, it had its sort of initial launch through the workings of the Marshall Plan back in the 1940s. And it's really been a historic organization that has brought business leaders together to work and provide business solutions for problems, social and economic problems around the country and around the world. So, you know, the one thing I do want to start off and say is that, you know, you're going to hear a lot of bad news and challenging stuff today. But the one thing I want to reiterate what Blake had mentioned, and first of all, I forgot to thank Blake, who's just a terrific organizer and a terrific human being, and Governor. To sit next to you is a real honor. I should have started off by saying that. I just got caught up in the honey and doll thing. But the video that was shown earlier, you know, there are very few states in the country that can have a video like that, where you have, you know, essentially guys in blue suits, you know, business people advocating for early childhood issues. And I think that is a very positive message about what's going on in the state. And I think people ought to feel really good about that. Again, there's a long way to go with this issue, but the fact of the matter is that you have the nucleus of business support here, and that's going to take us a long way. So I want to just take a few minutes this morning and talk to you about, why the voice of business matters, and what are the economic and social messages that are starting to resonate. Well, first of all, clout. The business leaders are trusted members of their communities. They have relationships with elected officials. They have connections that many of us don't have. So clout is very important. They are the unlikely messenger. Again, I point to that video. I think that video, by the way, there are times I watch that video and I think we could all go home because it says so much. But that video, with those business leaders speaking, it's the unlikely messenger. And when governors and elected officials, they hear from business leaders, they listen. But finally, the beneficiaries. Education shapes the workforce of tomorrow, making business leaders the direct beneficiary of high-quality early care and education. And let me say that thoughtful business leaders know that they are the #1 consumer of the education system. And they also understand that that the economy can't thrive and survive without an educated workforce. So, you know, as advances in global transportation and communication shrink the planet and worldwide competition intensifies, and as we move away from an industrial based to a knowledge-based economy, these front-end investments are going to be so critical to the future of our communities. You know, you're going to hear from Dr. Lori Smith in a moment about the brain development, and her presentation is just terrific. In fact, Lori and I talked a little earlier about maybe we could switch presentations, and she could be the business representative and I can be the PhD, and she said no. But we know, because we've been on this roadshow together and we've been bonding, and it's been wonderful. But in any event, the economic and brain development issues have been so key in getting business to support some of these issues. And those of you out there who might represent small firms and who wonder, okay, I care about the future of Mississippi. I care about 5, 15, 20 years down the road. But, right now I'm trying to meet a payroll. How does this affect me now? Well, take a look at some of that information there. That, in 2000, an American Business Collaboration report, 63% of member employees reported improved productivity while using quality-dependent care. And the bottom line here is that companies have working moms, they have working dads, and this affects the bottom line. If your child is in a center which is not clean, not healthy, and they're not being stimulated by the environment, you stand to lose money as a business. And you can see that child care breakdowns that companies nationally lose in excess of $3 billion when it comes to child care breakdowns. And I think that's a very significant thing, especially for the medium to small-sized business leader who wonders about, who cares about the long-term benefits, but really, wonders about how this affects them now. So I'm going to close because you're going to love Lori's presentation and some of the others, and I think it's important for you to hear what's happening directly in Mississippi. But there is a positive story to be told about the business community here in Mississippi, and I want you all to know that, as I said before, there are very few states in the union that we can have this business representation. It's something to build on, and I'm so pleased to be here. And when I leave later on, if you want to call me Honey and Doll, please feel free to do that. But thank you so much.